Hi everyone, and welcome to this Keptn community meeting. It's November 12th, and we have a couple of things to share, and then we will walk through the agenda items one after the other. First thing I want to share, we've already said this maybe in the last meeting. Please make sure to subscribe to the CNCF calendar that also lists all Keptn community meetings. And with this, you always stay up to date on the time of the community meetings. And it's always Thursday, 5 p.m. Central European time. But sometimes, if there is a time shift, please just make sure subscribe to this calendar and get updated on our new community meetings. Then we have had two webinars this week, and both of them are already available on our YouTube channel. I've posted here the links. So if you want to check them out, the first one is on using Keptn with Prometheus and building advanced SLIs. And you can do this with the help of the tool called PromLens. Julius Volz, he's the co-founder of Prometheus. He was joining us in this webinar, and he's explaining how to write a very, actually very complicated or complex SLI. And with the help of PromLens, we could get this done. The second webinar that is now live is, or ready for you to watch, is together with Litmus Chaos. And here we were building the use case of evaluating the resiliency of microservices by introducing chaos in the CD pipeline orchestrated by Keptn, and then having the Keptn quality gates evaluating the resiliency by checking how the chaos actually affected our service level objectives. We're also really excited that CubeCon is coming up next week, and we will be hosting 2 office hours. So there is no Keptn virtual booth during CubeCon, but we will have 2 office hours where you can interact, where you can talk and communicate with the Keptn team. So part of the Keptn team will be there at these office hours. We will be doing short presentation of Keptn, and we will be there answering all your questions around our project. First office hour is Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central European time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and 8 p.m. Pacific time. And on Thursday, we will do everything 1 hour earlier. So it's 4 p.m. Central European time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific time. You will receive the links to join this office hour via the KubeCon website, I guess, or via the KubeCon schedule builder. If you are talking about Keptn somewhere, if you are integrating Keptn in your environment, if you're giving if you're talking about Keptn somewhere publicly, if you're writing a blog on Keptn, please let us know. Reach out to us. We're happy to send you some swag. And with this, these were like short updates from my side. With this, I'm already handing over to Ermin to share some of his work.
Thank you very much. I plan to present a pull request today in the bridge. A rather small enhancement here, but it might be like it was in this case blocking, and therefore it was it's good to know. It's about allowing till more than 20 services or projects in the bridge. And let's have a look at the issue that we had here. The thing was that the Keptn's bridge was using is using the API to retrieve projects and services, and the API has a page size parameter with a default value of 20 elements here. And actually the bridge was never providing this parameter here. And we had not the use case to have more than 20 services or more than 20 projects in one Keptn installation until now. At a certain point, Leon van Sil here had more than 20 services in one project and addressed that. So now we provide it as a first step, and to make it as easy configurable an environment variable for projects page size and an environment variable for services page size, which is now by default 50 and can be increased in case that you have more projects or more services in your Keptn installation. Yeah, actually, that's all I wanted to present today. So if there are no questions, I'm handing over to Florian.
All right, thank you, Ermin. So, okay, yeah, what have I done this week? So this week I finally found some time to finally update some of our Keptn-contrib services in order for them to be ready for using CloudEvents 1.0, which we're going to be using in Keptn 0.8. So I've managed to update the Dynatrace-service, the Dynatrace-sli-service, also the two Prometheus-service and the Unleash-service. So those are actually all of the Keptn-contrib services that we're using in our integration tests currently. So that should allow us to further proceed with making our current master branch stable again and continue with adapting all of our use cases to the coming version 0.8. All right, the next pull request concerns the Dynatrace-service. So this was basically a follow-up issue for the update to the CloudEvents 1.01. So basically, since we're going to use new events in Keptn 0.8 with different structures and different event types that needed to be taken into account here in the Dynatrace-service as well. And actually what was having those new events will make our lives a little bit easier here, because previously we had to basically infer certain things like how the workflow is going to proceed based on a certain event. So for example, here you will see that, for example, if we have an evaluation done event, we looked at the deployment strategy or at the test strategy, and based on those information, we kind of had to infer on what's going to be happening next. And in Keptn 0.8, we're going to have more Dunbar events, so to speak. So the information of one event does not necessarily tell us about the next steps that are going to be happening in the workflow. But now we have smaller events. For example, we now have the release.triggered and the release.finished event. So now we have a better overview of what's currently going on. And we're going to be able to give more insight on what's happening currently. All right, are there any questions about that? All right, if not, then I will continue with the next one. So this one was a rather small one. So basically, yeah, basically here I updated the version we're using for our API gateway, for our Nginx API gateway. And here I basically updated to the latest version from 1.19.1 to 1.19.4. And that's also going to be included in the upcoming 0.7.3 release. So I've also made a pull request for that branch. So that's going to be included. All right, and the next two pull requests concern the statistics service. So the first one actually was a bug where Christian has detected a memory leak. And as you can see here in the resource consumption graph, the memory was continuously growing, even when the service was idle. And that has been fixed in that pull request. So the main cause of that was that at one place in the code, we used the MongoDB library to check the connection to the database, and we didn't close the connection properly, and therefore every time it checked the connection, more memory was allocated, and therefore the overall consumption grew over the time. And after the fix, I investigated the memory usage and basically monitored it for a couple of hours. And as you can see here, now the memory usage is constant for that service.
Also, as we discovered today, what was happening here with not being garbage collected with the connection pointer, etc., it was related to the MongoDB connection, and MongoDB itself did not kill the connection either. So that was kind of bad, because MongoDB itself was having increasing memory over time. So if that happens to you, yeah, that might be something to look at.
We should have an SLO for this service.
Yeah, for memory usage.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, and then finally, the last pull request I want to show you today is also about the statistics service. So in the previous version, so 0.1.1, the response format of the service was basically a key value map that basically mapped the name of the project to a structure containing information about a certain project, and also the same approach was used for statistics about the services within that project. And it turned out that it was a little bit difficult to interpret, and also to handle the payload in that way. And therefore the requirement was to, instead of using a key value map for this information, to use an array containing the entries for each of those projects. And yeah, basically that has been adapted, and we already made a new release of the service with the version number 0.20. And actually here you see a better example of how the payload looks now. So now we have an array for the projects, and also for the services within the project. We don't use key value maps anymore, but arrays containing the information. All right, are there any questions about that? If not, I will hand over to Johannes.
All right. Sharing my screen. I don't have that much to show. Just want to point out that this PR is ready for review. It's about explaining the requirements of a service that is running in the execution plane. If you have some time, please check out this pull request, and each feedback is welcome. And then the other issue I'm working on is still formulating the spec for the Keptn Cloud events that will be then supported by the new shipyard format. I already started working on this issue and provided a first draft, but to get this work finished, I want to wait until we have a running Keptn 0.8 version, just to double check whether the implementation and the specification is aligned. In other words, to also figure out whether the implementation need to be adapted, because we want to follow another approach. But therefore, I have to wait a little bit and keep this issue still on hold, not that long, but as soon as the master branch is building the Keptn 8 version, I will continue working on that one. All right, then let's jump over to the items that are in the backlog or here in this Kanban board. Ermin, I just recognized that there are a couple of issues that you did not mention in your review.
Yeah, I actually just mentioned the new feature, but haven't mentioned the bug fixes, which are included in our 0.7.3 release. Yeah, and we still have, and we have also 2 old features that have been presented last week. The bridge show all core use cases on integrations page.
Okay.
And I think then the one below, so they are now also merged and
okay. This one
can be.
This one has been presented last time, and that one
and
too.
That one,
the cleanup. All right.
That's the invalidation of events.
Can you give us?
Just wanted to say, if we don't need to present bug pull requests here unless we really have the time and there is something valuable in there. I'd say for today we're running quite well in time. So if there is something valuable to share, go ahead. And if not, then let's just move them.
Yeah, actually the bug fixes are rather small. Details like the compared with information, the first one, where we differentiate between compared with last passed and last passed or warning and all last evaluations. This depends on the parameter in the SLO file, include results with score, and this parameter could have been set either using quotes or also without quotes. And when it was provided without quotes, the Lighthouse service interpreted this value correctly, but the bridge was not reading it correctly and not showing the details in this case. Yeah, that's it. Now it also parses this correctly and shows that information correctly. The next one is the evaluation time frame. So for an evaluation, we show the time frame, how long the evaluation took. For example, 5 minutes, 0 seconds. And the issue here was that when you clicked through the evaluations in the heat map, the time frame was not updating. So the times, the start and the end time were correctly shown for each selected element, but the time frame was not recalculated here. And yeah, that's now also fixed. So you always have the time frame for the selected element here.
Perfect.
And the next one is about the start evaluation example in the integrations page, which has a parameter as a time parameter. And this time parameter is generated on client side. So you see your current time there. And while generating this time, we also considered the time zone in which the client was. But the Keptn installation is using UTC time for applying the evaluation here. And yeah, this is now changed. So we show the UTC time.
Great, cool. Thanks for your feedback on those bugs and for going over the changes. All right, then what we have in the ready for a review column are 2 pull requests that need a review. Florian is waiting for that. And then we have 2 issues from Christian. Can I move it over?
Yeah, the fully qualified domain name documentation update is already live, and there is not much to talk about. I've talked about it in the last few sessions. And the migration from travesci.org to .com has been finished essentially. I haven't seen any reports that anything has failed or is not working. So I guess this is done.
Cool, perfect. All right, then this column is cleaned up. Just one quick note on the release 0.73 issue. There we made already good progress. Well, the spec has not been updated. We'll still stick with 0.1.6 version of the Keptn spec. The examples has been changed and they have been released.
Is this with the spec right? Because we did introduce a new cloud event for invalidating, didn't we? Or did we do it differently?
That's a good point.
let's look at this offline.
Okay. Well, let's discuss this offline. But
it's not a biggie, but yeah.
No, because actually it's just an update on the release notes, because just the release notes reference the used specification, but still that's true. And I think that this one has not been added to the Keptn spec, this new invalidation, new cloud event.
I think we forgot that, yeah.
That's true. Yep. Thanks for bringing that up. We need to do this before we go out with the new release. Then I just want to remove those checks so that we don't forget.
GitHub is painfully slow if you want to click multiple things. Just go on, I'll do it in the background.
Okay, thanks. Well, but what we have done is releasing the examples with version 0.73. There was no need to release the Kubernetes utils. They still are the old ones. The same is true for the Go utils. The Keptn-contrib services have also not been updated except of the statistics service, as Florian already mentioned and showed us. And in the release process of Keptn itself, there we are also making good progress. Quite a lot of tasks are already finished. And actually also we started with the preparation in the testing phase. And the tests also showed that 0.73 is working as we expect to work. Long story short, we are making progress, and I hope this week, not sure whether we can release it tomorrow, but by Monday or Tuesday next week, 0.73 will be out of the door. All right, yeah, then those that are in progress we want to discuss, that's okay. The issues that are assigned and committed, I will also skip. This brings me now to the point to jump over to the backlog. And here I have the first. Thanks, Christian, for adding this one.
Just in time.
Just in time. It's about updating the spec as a follow-up issue on the cleanup of the quality gate evaluation result. We need to provide this new cloud event also in the specification. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Is someone up there who wants to touch on the docs, or not on the docs, on the spec?
I can do that.
Cool. Thank you very much, Flo. Then the next issue is about the remediation use case in Keptn 0.8, as we are now getting closer to a point to execute and run the use cases end to end. We also want to get the remediation use case working again, but there is still a couple of things missing. Yeah, Florian explained those missing pieces here in this issue. For example, yeah, the remediation strategy. No, Florian, can you give us just a brief
yeah,
intro?
Sure. So basically, here in this function I've referenced here, for example, the remediation service checks whether a remediation is actually enabled for a certain project or a certain stage by checking the shipyard. But now we don't have this remediation strategy anymore. So now it needs to do this check another way. And my proposal would be to check if there is a remediation.yaml file for that service in the stage, because that basically tells us whether the remediation has been activated.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then also, for example, the service previously handled evaluation done events, which we don't have anymore. So those have been replaced by evaluation.finished events. So that needs to be taken into consideration. And also when triggering a new evaluation, instead of sending a start evaluation event, it needs to send a evaluation.triggered event. And yeah, and also correlating an incoming evaluation.finished event to a remediation workflow also works a little bit different. I've outlined it here in this description. So yeah, so for example, we can use this get remediations by context function in order to check whether an evaluation belongs to a remediation workflow. And of course, also the integration tests will need to be updated. Maybe a comment about the second one, because I've looked over it today already, and this one actually uses the send new artifact feature of the CLI. So we need that to work before this test will run through. So there's a little bit of a dependency to the artifact delivery use case. But the first one, the test self-healing.sh script, which actually checks the execution of the workflow by the remediation service, that should be possible without any other dependencies to the text.
Okay, and for the second script, which dependency do we have, or to which issue?
We already have an issue for that. I think it's the adaptation of the new artifact command for the CLI. I'm not sure if it's in this in the backlog already.
No, it's not. But just to understand the context, let me just open it. It's here in the milestone 0.8, and I assume you're talking about that one. Adapt CLI command, send new artifact. Okay. All right. Yeah, then this one, actually, let me just copy this link. And I will add it as a note that we know that there is a dependency. All right, cool. Then, yeah, who wants to work on this issue in the next sprint?
That would be me.
All right. Thanks, Flo. Then I have here one issue that is related to the MongoDB. Actually, it's more a developer task, because right now it's not possible to remote debug the MongoDB data store. And the blocking item is that the liveness probe does not allow us to do the debugging. Bernd raised this issue, and it's kind of more like a chore just to make sure that we can continue developing the MongoDB data store.
If nobody takes it, I will leave it open, and either Bernd or myself will work on it next week. Bernd isn't here today, but I'm sure we'll have time next week for this.
Okay. Cool. Then I will leave it where it is. All right. Then let me just briefly open this meta issue, because here I'm keeping track on the updates that happen for the services in the contrib and sandbox organization. And yeah, we can see, thanks to Florian, that a lot of work has already been done. The Dynatrace-service has been updated. I think this one is okay. Yeah, almost done. Then also the CloudEvents for the Dynatrace-sli-service has been updated, and the same is true for the Prometheus-service. And I think, or as we have seen in the backlog or in the Kanban board, a couple of PRs are currently working for a review, so that we then also can check those elements.
The Unleash service one has already been merged, so we can
Cool. Thanks. Then
that one as well.
this one.
The issue is still open, although. Can we close it?
Let's just double check. This is the issue. Well, it was not linked with a pull request.
Yeah, then if it's
I
done,
will close
then,
it.
Yeah. GitHub logic sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I think it picks up if you say closes and then issue number, or fixes issue number, it picks that up. But if you just say implemented issue number, or I worked on issue number, so and so, it doesn't pick it up.
Are there reserved keywords for?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Yeah. But the cool thing is that with all those updates, we are now at the point where we can make our Travis build green again, because those services are used in the testing scripts and they help us to make a build successful. All the others are just supporting and not needed for testing, but still we want to get them updated as well. And I will keep the progress, or track the progress here. And those issues are referenced further down. Well, it's the update on the statistics service, then also the Dynatrace-sli-service and Prometheus-service. They will slightly change their behavior. They will listen to a triggered event and will then send out a started and finished event. And the notification service, which is written in TypeScript, also wants to get updated in order to understand the new cloud events. When someone is out there who likes to write TypeScript, please feel free to take a look at this issue and just tell us that you want to work on it, and we are happy to assign it to you. And then there is the Argo service, which also needs to be updated to make the Argo CD tutorial working. All right. Then I have here 4 additional issues. Let me just open that one first. It's about adding the version check to the root command again, because due to an update on the CLI, this version check has been removed, but we want to bring it back in order to help the users to inform the users when a new version of Keptn is released. And with this issue, we want to bring in this feature again. Someone up for working on this issue?
Yeah, it sounds not too difficult, so it would be interesting to have a look on that one for me.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely cool. It's the CLI. Let me assign it to you. And thank you very much, Ermin.
Obviously, if you have questions, as you're not that familiar with the Go CLI that we've written, just ask.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see some Go code from you.
Again.
Then I have another actually bug that has been reported by Ankit. He told us that the CLI does not work when using GPG, which is a key management system on a Linux, and there it's not working. Well, the CLI returns.
Actually, he's also on the call if we want to. If he wants to share.
Yeah.
Ankit, you can also share your thoughts on this if you're hearing this.
Hello. Yeah. So I had a talk with Florian. I would pick it up in my next, like once I finish my project, then I'll pick it up. There's few issues that I have already commented it. I'll assign it to me.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Ankit. Can you just leave a comment there, and then I will assign it to you.
Sure.
Thanks a lot. Okay, then I just have 2 bugs to talk about. The first one is a bug in the bridge, and the problem is that this label for showing this information at this label, the bridge is taking a look at the last 20 triggers or root events that were fetched for this particular service. But in case this list does not contain a configuration change or an evaluation done event, then this label will not show the last deployed artifact version. This happened here for Gabriel because Gabriel was using or was playing around with Keptn, and he sent a lot of problem events to Keptn, and at the end the configuration change event disappeared and was not showing up in this list. As a consequence, this label was not showing the information correctly, as it's now saying service is not deployed, but in fact the service has been deployed. And the fix would be to not take a look at this list, but to fetch this information from Keptn regardless of the events. Yeah, here we can
actually
see.
With the pull request I presented today, this issue fades out a little bit because we increased now the page size to 50, so the default page size actually. But still, this is an issue if you have many problem events in a row. It might happen that the configuration change event disappears in this list. And the API, when loading the services, I think provides also the last configuration change event ID. So the bridge could fetch that one and just show that information exactly.
That's true. Yeah. The response of get service request already contains the configuration changed event. Right. Someone up for working on this issue in the next week?
Yeah, you can assign it to me, of course.
Thank you very much, Ermin. And then there is another issue in the bridge. But since Firefox is not that famous anymore, it's not that urgent anymore, this issue. The problem is in Firefox, when you click on this icon or on this label that shows you the SLO result or the evaluation result of an SLO, then Firefox does a jump and you will actually lose the focus. This is not that convenient because then you don't know, or then you will end up somewhere else. And yeah,
actually we are showing a tooltip here, and in Firefox something happens with the height of this view, and it jumps around, and therefore you cannot see the tooltip. and you don't see the details of this evaluation.
Actually, you see it for like half a second, then it jumps. It's mega weird. I've reported it. I just verified it's still the case. I'm not even sure if that's something that we can fix that easily, or if it needs a contribution to Barista components.
Yeah, the question here is if maybe something is not well styled with our CSS, maybe some custom CSS properties. So needs to be investigated here.
Okay. Yeah, as it's a bug that has not been solved for the new release, for the upcoming 0.73 release, I mentioned it as a known limitation in the release notes. Yep, as it's an inconvenient situation, but still not breaking. All right, then this is kind of a research task first to get an understanding why this is happening, and then to get an understanding also for deriving the fix.
Yeah, you can assign it to me, but I would not invest too much time into this. Try some CSS stylings, maybe some overflow setting or height setting might fix it easy. But if it's not fixed in an easy and fast solution, let's say half a day, then I would just close it as a known issue for now and report it maybe to Barista components. And yeah.
Cool. Yeah, let's continue working in this way. Don't invest that much time. Maybe just a quick research, and then let's see how to continue. Cool. Ankit already left a comment. This gives me now a chance to assign it to you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and this brings me to the bottom of this column. No more issues left. Then I'm also at the end of my task for today. Let me just go back to our agenda. This is what we did right now. Then, Jürgen, do we have an additional announcement to say, or are we done?
We are good for this. Again, so next week there is KubeCon, and we are hosting 2 office hours. I put the agenda, or actually the time of these office hours, I put it also in this meeting notes document. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can still answer them. Otherwise, join us in our Keptn Slack during the week to also ask your questions, but I think we're good. So no more questions coming in. Then we can close this meeting a little bit earlier than usual. Thanks everyone for joining, and see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll see you. Bye.